He was forced to leave the house at a young age because his family could no longer afford to feed him. Terrare, a man with a natural appetite that was apparent from childhood, his inhuman face, wide lipless mouth, lined with stained teeth that seemed to reflect something he couldn't control, his hunger. Despite being able to eat a whole quarter of a cow within 24 hours at a young age, Terrare remained unnaturally thin and like a normal human that would become obese under such extreme consumption. By the age of 17, he weighed only about 45 kilograms. His body was strange, especially his abdomen. It would stretch like a balloon when full of food, then shrink into a loose skin that he could wrap around his waist once his stomach was empty. After leaving home at a young age, Terrare lived his first years as a vagabond, begging for food in the street, and eventually he turned into a street performer where he acted as a traveling charlatan, showing people the only thing he knew how to do, eating. In his acts, he would swallow pretty much everything: corks, stones, and basketfuls of food handed to him by the crowd. Sometimes he even brought live animals with him to the show to eat them in front of the audience as a part of his performance. That was what he lived off for a long time, until the War of the First Coalition. This war was a conflict between a group of European countries and French. What mattered to us in that war is that Terrare decided to join the French Revolutionary Army to defend his country. And as expected, joining the military didn't change his enormous appetite. The standard military rations weren't enough for him, so he took on odd jobs for other soldiers every day in exchange for their own ration. But even that wasn't efficient, what made him fall into the habit of digging through trash and dung heaps, searching for any food waste he could find. Terrare was sent to a military hospital after suffering from an extreme exhaustion, and there where he met Dr. Percy, who noticed his extraordinary greed and boundless gobbling he couldn't ignore. Dr. Percy and his team decided to run some experiments to test Terrare limits. They prepared the meal meant for 15 people, in which Terrare didn't hesitate and finished all the 15 meals in one sitting. And it didn't stop there. One of the experiments involved giving Terrare live animals, which also wasn't a foreign thing to do for Terrare. They gave him a live cat, tore it apart, drank the blood, and then swallowed the entire body. Not just the cat, every animal they handed to him, he devoured without a second thought. After months of experiments, the military figured out a way to put his inhuman abilities to use. A document was placed inside a wooden box and then fed to Terrare. And then they waited 2 days to retrieve the box from Terrare excrement. It worked, the box still in a good condition, and most important, the documents inside that box remained readable. So the military then planned to send Terrare as a spy, disguised as a German. He was ordered to carry a message in his stomach and deliver it to a French colonel imprisoned by the Prussians. Terrare successfully crossed the Prussian lines, but because he couldn't speak German, he looked suspicious and attracted a lot of locals' attention. He was eventually caught by the Prussian authorities. Obviously, they pressured him to talk about what he was up to, but Terrare didn't give anything up. However, after being imprisoned for 30 hours, the box inside Terrare finally emerged, and he had to explain the scheme to his captors. Some sources claim that the Prussians never even recovered the box, but what is certain is that Terrare was brutally beaten before being sent back to the French lines. After this incident, Terrare decided to quit the military service. He asked Dr. Percy for a cure so he could finally live a normal life, something he had never been able to achieve. All Percy treatments failed: wine, vinegar, tobacco pills, and even laudanum, a dangerous substance considered as a drug in today's medicine standards, used back then to slow digestion and suppress appetite, did nothing to him. And Terrar's cravings remained completely uncontrollable. Sometimes he would sneak out of the hospital to scavenge in alleys, and inside the hospital he was in, he got caught drinking the blood of patients, being treated with the bloodletting, also stopped by doctors while attempting to eat a dead body in the morgue. As if things could not get worse, a 14-month-old toddler disappeared from the hospital, and only Terrare knew how that baby tasted.